Branson, Missouri has been the dream destination for those playing men's basketball at the NAIA Division II level. The former home of the national tournament is also where Joe Ingersoll's passion to be a college basketball player was ignited.
We started going, I think, my freshman year of high school. Okay. So my dad had gone a few years prior with a friend, Matt Paddock, who he's a good friend of the family, and he played down at Embry-Riddle, and Embry-Riddle's a college down in Florida, and they were consistently in the national tournament. So they were always in Branson, and so Matt would typically go down and watch them, and he was good friends with the coaches. So a few years back, he invited us to go with him, and my dad and myself, and so we decided to go down and see what college ball really looks like, something that I'd never really watched firsthand. And so it was that first experience that I was there that I was looking around, I look at my dad, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna do this. Like, this is where I want to end up.
After not being recruited throughout high school, Ingersoll started to reach out to schools on his own. Once deciding that he wanted to attend Taylor University, Ingersoll called head coach Josh Andrews to see if they had any walk-on spots available. The Trojans did, but there was only one roster spot open. Ingersoll made the drive from his home in Elkhorn, Wisconsin for a tryout the spring of his senior year of high school. A week after the trip to Upland, Ingersoll found out he did not get the last walk-on spot, but would have an opportunity to still be part of the team as a student assistant coach.
I put on a lot better face than I would give off the true emotion. It was tough. I had a few dreams just growing up, and one of them was playing college ball. But after recognizing that this is the opportunity that's given to me, it's really going to give me no good to just sulk around and be upset about it. So I decided to accept that role and try to make the best of it. And I kind of took on the perspective of, I'm not going to be a player on the team, but I'm really happy I still get to be on a team.
Joe had been thinking of potential careers for a while, and one that stood out was coaching. He now had an opportunity to become Coach Ingersoll. But what exactly does a student assistant coach do?
Basically means you're an assistant to the managers, and you get involved in a little bit of the coaching conversation. So I got to see both sides of like what the coaches talk about, like their game plans, how are they thinking going forward, as well as helping the managers in every way possible. So during games, my job would be to take stats. So I had the iPad, and I would track our stats as much as I could. And then during practice, it was running the clock and hopping in if they need an extra man, and stuff like Aiden does typically day-to-day for us. And then besides that, it's all just the pregame prep. So making sure everything's together. I kind of took the locker room as kind of my baby. So made sure that was clean, made sure that was organized, and that all the players' attention never had to be faced towards that, but that they could just direct and focus primarily on basketball.
That season was the second for Josh Andrews as head coach at TU. Looking back, Andrews remembers two distinct things about the youngest member of his staff.
He cleaned up well, and that was important. And Joe was willing to do whatever to be around the program. What we got a kick out of was that first year he wanted to be with us in preseason conditioning and would prefer just to mix in with the guys. So our staff was large enough we could monitor and handle whatever data we were recording on our own. So we welcomed Joe to sweat a little bit and get a good workout in. And he's a pretty remarkable athlete, and he's a tough kid. So he thrived in that, and that was Joe's way of probably trying to stay in great shape.
Those workouts and just being around the team kept the dream of being a college basketball player alive for Ingersoll. Following his freshman year, he met with Andrews to discuss the possibilities of making the TU roster. At that point, it was unclear if a spot would open up. But that summer, Ingersoll prepared like that opportunity would be there, and it's a good thing that he did.
It was coming to the end of that preseason where Casey comes walking up to me, or someone, I think it was Casey, comes walking up and he's like, okay, so what jersey do you want? I just kind of froze. I was like, well, what's left? Was just the first response, because I had no idea what was coming. And that's when we ended up with 43. And I remember walking away from that just shocked, because it was a week before practice actually officially started. I instantly called my dad, I instantly called my mom, and I'm like, they just asked me to get a jersey. I don't know what that means, nothing's been said, but I think I'm on the team, I'm not really sure quite yet. So I go up and I talk to Coach, and we talk it through, and he welcomes me on the team, and we kind of we made the same understanding that it's not an assured position. You're gonna have to work and improve yourself, and we're gonna see how it goes for 1 year. And there's nothing guaranteed in the future, but we're gonna treat you like every other player.
Ingersoll would only play in 10 games as a sophomore and thought about leaving the team after the season. But following a discussion with Andrews, Ingersoll decided to return for his junior year. He would see time in 22 games during the 2016-2017 campaign, and not only did Ingersoll's minutes increase, so did TU's win total. But after losing in the first round of the Crossroads League tournament, the Trojans had to wait to see if they would receive an at-large bid to the national stage, held in the same city and the same gym that Ingersoll and his father knew oh so well.
Man, and I really haven't thought about it all like this in the whole picture in a long time. That was a big moment. Yeah, that was a really big moment because it wasn't just I'm gonna play college basketball. It was, Dad, I'm gonna play college basketball, and my goal in all goals is to play in Branson.
Naturally, after finding out he was going back to Branson as a tournament participant, the first thing Ingersoll did was call his parents. There was just one slight problem.
I think my phone was dead, and so I grabbed Graham. I think I reached out to Graham. I was like, Graham, I need your phone. I need it now. Like, I need your phone. I'm dialing I like calling him over. Call Dad, nothing. Call Mom, nothing. Call Dad, and no one's picking up. And I think it's because you're like, who's this random number just continuing to call us?
Ingersoll would get in touch with his father later that night. The last time the two were in Branson, Joe was a senior in high school. The memories would flood back for Joe again when he and the Trojans prepared for their first-round game against Warner.
Warming up for that first time was just kind of crazy. Like, we're standing there waiting for seeing the seats where Dad and I would sit, and Matt and all the other guys, and but then actually being the ones being watched instead of the ones watching.
Ingersoll might have saved his best for last this season. The senior has played in all but 2 of Taylor's games, highlighted by his career-high 13-point performance against Marion in January. From student assistant coach to student athlete, every moment spent with the Taylor men's basketball team has left an impact with Ingersoll.
It's helped me to know what it's like to serve, and to know what it's like to love, and to know what it's like to make sacrifices for people, and to just keep persevering and relying on people around you to keep pushing forward. And those are all things that I may have learned in other circumstances, but nothing as unique as this circumstance. And so I wouldn't be the man I am today if it wasn't for the investment that Taylor basketball has had in me.
With the Taylor men's basketball team, Rick Johnston, Trojan Sports Network.